$100,000. But you've got to be straight for 2 minutes. You understand? 2 minutes. That's all I need.
You want a picture of me? They're only 50 cents a piece. You get one for nothing.
Hello. Hey, fellas. Come on.
Alright, it's a new year, and there's a lot of new stuff to get to, like that Bond movie I never got around to talking about last year, and a whole lot of new stuff that's come out, so we'll have to assess the hat of decisions. Yes, a random decision to decide what we talk about today. So, this is about what you get when you make a movie that nobody wants to make and nobody's having fun making. The original Smokey and the Bandit was one of those things that could have easily failed if not done correctly. If not for the combination of great pacing and memorable funny characters, it might not have been the film that it was. I wouldn't call it an outright classic, but it had a lot going for it. Great comedy, unforgettable music, and mostly it was just real fun. The sequel that shouldn't have been made and has little to nothing in terms of redeemable quality, that Burt Reynolds even said he didn't enjoy making and knew it was nothing but a cheap cash-in, has none of that. Unless you're going by box office. If that's the case, it definitely made a lot more money than the first movie, but aside from that, it's kind of insulting. And this feels more like a parody opposed to a proper sequel, and I'm not really exaggerating that. It's the same basic premise. They're trying to transport something across the state via a bet, and the incompetent sheriff's trying to stop them. The thing is, unlike the first movie that sticks to this premise, this one at some point becomes about the bandit abusing a pregnant animal. I'm dead serious. Along with Burt Reynolds doing everything he can to effectively ruin this character, so that's always good. And shit that's so stupid it would explain why marathons of this mainly consist of the first film being played on repeat. The rest is kind of the same exact thing. So let's analyze Smokey and the Bandit 2, which really shouldn't have been made. The film opens with Big and Little Enos, again played by Pat McCormick and Paul Williams, also known as two of the few dumbasses who thought a second movie wasn't enough.
Now, you may not know me. I'm Big Enos Burdett. This is my son, Little Enos.
Yes, that was kind of funny. Believe me, it won't last. Now that's an opening scene that sums up the movie. Very nice. Them and John Kahn are in a race for governor of Texas, and both failed to get the previous governor's endorsement. I can't imagine why that would be. But he overhears a phone call about a crate in Miami that's meant to be delivered to the Republican convention in Dallas in 9 days.
Just get me crate number 1444.
This gives him the idea to have the crate delivered in his name to earn the governor's endorsement. We then cut to Jerry Reed, who is again dumb enough to be in the third movie, which, in case you're wondering, is not as bad as this, at least in my opinion. And the movie's new theme, which is pretty good, but unlike Eastbound and Down, it only plays once. Even during the end credits, which is dumb as shit. Why did they make a great new theme and never use it? I'm gonna go with no good scenes to use it in.
Folks, I want you to meet Big Wart and Little Wart.
Their names already sound stupid. They sound like anus. Why would you... Did they literally have no ideas? So you know the drill. They offer him and the bandit a bunch of money to get the crate, but the only problem is the bandit isn't doing so good.
From the beer side.
I hope you enjoyed that, because it's kind of a running gag throughout the scene, because that's just good comedy, I guess.
This bullshit has got to stop.
He manages to get the price doubled because these two are incredibly stupid, and I bet you're wondering, why is the once iconic bandit acting like an asshole? I'll give you one guess.
I really wish it could have worked for you two.
Ah yes, the classic breakup. I mean, it's not like they were already broken up in the first movie, that would have been perfect, but still, a classic concept indeed. But on the bright side, at least Jackie Gleason's still in this. It guarantees some comedy.
Junior's nothing but a big mound of tick turd. Imagine trying to marry that floozy for a second time.
Now you see that? Comedic gold. You can't... What did he just say?
You have come together in this church so that the Lord may seal and strengthen your love.
So she's gonna marry Junior again. The guy who's basically mentally retarded, she's gonna marry again. The thing that led to her role in the first movie because it was so implausible, and they thought, let's do it again and have it make even less sense. This is proof, irrefutable proof, that nobody cared about this movie. You don't even have to keep watching. This scene alone makes that blatantly obvious.
This bullshit has got to stop.
Well, at least Sally Field had enough common sense to not be in any more of these. She gets a call from Cledus and decides to leave Junior again.
Not again.
Do we need to explain why that's the best line in the movie? Ooh, here's a nice running gag.
And you better recharge your beeper.
Why is this a thing?
This hemogauge and that exercise was invented in a monastery by a couple of Tibetan monks. They live in Newark now. And just lucky enough, I saw
Why
the
is this a
advertisement in
thing?
School Magazine.
But since the gang's back together again, we can enjoy some new and completely original ideas. Like, it's only business.
While there is a certain amount of physical attraction between us, and even some residual affection primarily due to nostalgia, my one and only reason for being here is money.
Talking to the camera.
She still loves me.
And a training montage, because as we know, driving vehicles is purely athletic. Yeah, that's right. He went from being out of shape to outrunning racehorses. When do they need that crate by? They get him a new car, I'd question if he needs one, and we see the next new great idea they had for this movie, making the bandit into a giant dick. Which, in modern Hollywood terms, is development, but as you can see, it's by no means a new thing. They head to Miami to get the crate, which the guard won't give them because it's quarantined, but luckily for them, stealing quarantined items is quite easy. You just gotta go at night.
Hurry up, the sun's coming up!
Why didn't we just come sooner? 'Cause it's more cinematic. They locate the crate, and we have a scene that I can only describe as true cinematic gold. Oh, you see that? And now he's on top. Oh, he's riding it now. Isn't that something? Oh, he crashed into the boxes, and now he's stuck inside one of them. Perfect scene.
You saved my life. It was totally unselfish.
Oh, well, for nothing,
Yes, with that incredibly unselfish act. He saved... Yeah? Well, yeah, I know the movie isn't satire, but this scene isn't meant to be taken as a complete joke? Oh. Huh.
This bullshit has got to stop.
So, yeah, Charlotte the elephant is the thing the governor wants. I'm not sure why. And the sheriff arrives. How will they get out of this? By fooling him into wasting his bullets and Junior's gun being empty. Why is this?
When I put bullets in it, Daddy, it gets too heavy.
What's good about this is that in the first movie, he wasn't this dumb. I mean, he was, but not enough to empty out his gun for no reason. This is development. Luckily, Terry Bradshaw felt this was a good enough film to cameo in, and he has Joe Green destroy police property. Because laws.
I knew this would happen as soon as they started that bussin' shit.
Okay, for the sake of credit when credit's due, there are some funny lines in this movie.
Well, that's about enough.
Well, how many is that?
One. Look at that big, ugly alligator.
That reminds me, I gotta call your mama tonight. If you ever embarrass me like that again, I'm going to get an axe, and you're never gonna have to open your fly again.
Not to say it makes the movie worth watching, the bad stuff easily outweighs it, but still, it's something. The elephant isn't feeling good, but hope comes in the shape of Dom DeLuise. It's the old doctor shows up at just the right moment, isn't really a doctor just yet, and is by no means a vet cliché. It's 3 in 1.
I was the leading gynecologist in Pompeii. Population, 23.
He's kinda just there. If he wasn't, it wouldn't change that much. Also, an interesting note about the first movie is the sheriff's vehicle would progressively take damage as the movie goes on, and you would notice this. It was a nice detail. In this, it seems to be able to fix itself. Anyway, the doc needs to get to Miami as patients need him, so they give him money to stay with them.
Snowman's always had a heart. He cares about something other than himself.
Yeah, the patients may be screwed, but at least we have somebody to help the elephant, who doesn't know what he's doing. It's a good trade-off. They find out the elephant's pregnant, meaning we can move on to one of the best aspects of the movie, the bandit not giving a shit.
Now we're gonna take this elephant, we're gonna load it on the truck, and we're gonna drive to Dallas with her.
Man, this is what happens when you make sequels that have no business existing. You get shit like this. The bandit was a great character the way he was, and didn't need any more development. So, when you have a movie like this, the only option is to not change anything, or do whatever this is.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
Well, I would say that she's in love, wouldn't you? Of course, the fat ones always did go for Bo.
Juloso.
Well, that's a great idea. It's gonna make for some great scenes. I know it's meant to be a joke, but would bestiality really be out of place in this?
This bullshit has got to stop.
We finally get some car action in this fucking car chase movie, and being that it's an hour in, it must be something decent. I could complain about the chase essentially being a joke, but why did they stop? He had no reason to stop. They could have just kept going. Huh? The bandit then gets upset because somebody doesn't like him.
If I was making a list of the great assholes of the 20th century, you'd be in the top 5.
I can see you've watched the whole movie.
Hey, get out of here, you weirdo!
Listen to me. Little kids love me, parents love me, everybody loves me. Now you come on out here and love me or I'm gonna kick your little skinny ass!
Fucking shit, man. Who the hell acts like this? I'm telling you, get out here. Get the fuck out here now. Oh, you better come out here and like me. Or at least, like the video. And subscribe if you're enjoying the video. Oh. The elephant's in labor, meaning they can't move it, so they all agree to pay some kid to watch it and go out and have fun, despite the whole thing being fucked. And if the bandit character wasn't already destroyed...
See, the doc said we gotta take the weight off Charlotte's legs, you know?
He's an asshole. He's a complete asshole. It's that simple.
Terribly ingenious, highly imaginative, incredibly inventive.
She has enough sense to leave, you know, this scene and the franchise, but the bandit still doesn't give a damn.
I'm weak, I admit it. I'm a weak person. I need other people. Don't turn your back on me.
Did anybody listen to these scenes back, or were they just randomly shot and thrown together? Because, just to clarify, in case you missed it, he's abusing a pregnant animal!
What an asshole.
The sheriff calls up his relatives, also played by Jackie Gleason, and Mrs. Gleason, it's how it's credited, and they ambush him with a huge fleet of police cars. It's not looking too good, but the Snowman arrives with his army of trucks, meaning we finally get a scene in this movie that isn't comic relief nonsense. I was wrong. It's just comic relief nonsense.
This bullshit has got to stop.
The relatives accomplish fuck all, and the sheriff's car finally runs out of healing.
Shut up, Junior. I'm thinking.
What are you thinking about?
Retiring.
And by that he means having an even bigger role in the third movie, which again isn't as bad, but you know. The elephant finally has her baby, but that means it can't move or it might die.
Well, you just let your alligator mouth overload your jaybird ass.
The best scene in the movie, hands down.
What is the matter with you two idiots? You act like she's human.
Well, I guess that teardrop that's nowhere near his shoulder is enough to change his demeanor. Meaning he can make up with Carrie, she can idiotically forgive him, and we can have...
Charlotte had her baby! Oh, you're a wonderful person, Charlotte! Look what you did!
whatever this movie passes off as a happy ending.
You're not getting away from the bandit! I'll chase you in hot pursuit to the end of the earth, you son of a bitch!
I have no fucking idea what that's about, but that was Smokey and the Bandit II. And it's about Burt Reynolds abusing a pregnant elephant. That idea alone, along with a decent amount of real fucking stupid scenes, would be enough to deem this a sequel that shouldn't have happened. But honestly, this goes way beyond that. This is a car chase movie that barely, and I mean barely, gives you anything of the sort. The first movie had an abundance of that, and it gave the audience what they expected to see, which was pretty damn good. This doesn't even attempt that, instead giving you one stupid scene after another, with the prime intention of making you hate Burt Reynolds' character. Why they would do this, why anybody thought that was a good direction to go in, is just baffling. This movie is bad enough to suck on its own, but as a sequel, it's outright insulting. For those of you who think the third movie is worse than this, well, you probably just think that because that's how things tend to go. It was a bad movie, yeah, but at least they tried something different. I couldn't imagine watching a third movie after this, but at least it's not themed around animal cruelty. In the end, the only good thing about Smokey and the Bandit 2 is that it has some funny moments that aren't enough to justify sitting through this. It's a shameless sequel that nobody liked making, no stations seem to like playing, and it's not hard to see why that is. I'm the analyst, and remember kids, abusing animals is okay, so long as people like you. You may have to keep the abusive part a secret, but it's fine. It's fine. So, you've made it to the end. That's an impressive feat indeed. Since you managed that, I guess check out the gaming channel, in which I cover a variety of gaming topics, like analysis videos, such as this one. If you're into that, then press the link in the description. It's that simple.